Hello everyone, I'm back again. My vise is still sitting in my garage, untouched from last time we saw. So that's fun. In today's video I'm going to be procrastinating even more, and I'm going to be finishing a project that I've been also procrastinating on. So I'm going to be casting aluminum, or at least trying to today, for a handle for a piece that I've been working on. I just thought I'd film it, even though I'm already almost done with the project. I just thought I'd put a video out just to prove that I'm still alive and not completely lethargic. So let's get right into it. Alright, so what I have here is a little wax sculpture for the handle that I'm going to be casting, right? And what I want to do is I want to cast this out of aluminum. So I'm going to try and get to that today. But first, little bubbles popped up because I don't have a vacuum chamber. So I'm just going to fill those in with the leftover wax that I have. Fill any gaps, any imperfections. Once I do that, I'll be putting it onto a pedestal basically in a flask. I'll show you that later. And that'll be what we actually cast the aluminum into. For right now, I'm just going to work on getting these little gaps and bubbles filled in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil some water and I'm going to put it in a metal cup. The metal will conduct the heat nicely, and I'll just basically take a piece of wax, touch it against the metal cup, and it'll drip. It'll melt and it'll drip into whatever gaps that I want to fill. Right, so I have the boiling water. I pour it into the cup. Oh, crap. Alright, I'm going to pour it into the cup and not spill any. Alright. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wax. Hopefully I can get a chunk off of it. There we go. And hopefully my water stays hot. I'm going to take a little chunk of it, right? Oh god, this is dangerous. Alright, there we go. I'm going to take it, make contact, and hopefully this works. So, if any of you ski, right? Any of you are skiers or snowboarders, this is basically the same process for waxing a ski or a snowboard, or the hillbilly way of doing it, by just taking a hot iron, melting some wax on it, just dripping it all over the board or the ski, and this is not working. It's not dripping at all. Not sure what to do now since it's not working. Cool. Not sure what to do now. I thought that would work. But alas, it does not. Alright, time to think of a plan B now. Alright, so I found an old soldering iron. It might be a little bit slower of a process, but I know that it's definitely going to get hot enough to melt the wax. So let's do it. Creating lots of gross fumes right now. I'm not sure how safe that is, but in the name of creation, I will keep going. Gross. Oh, God, that's horrible. Alright, so my thing right now is that it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing ever. It just has to have enough material on it that I can shave it all off once it's aluminum and not wax anymore. Okay, so I have no idea pretty much how I'm gonna do this, but what I want to end up with, what my goal is basically this, positioned like this on this pedestal, kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a little arm that goes onto this little nub right here, pretty much. And it is going to attach somewhere to this thing. It's just going to hold it up like that. That is what I hope. In theory, it works out. In practice, we'll see. So let's get to it, I guess. Okay, so I have this very haphazardly set on here. Hopefully that stays like that, because if it doesn't, then this is going to be kind of a disaster. I don't want to add too much to it, because then that'll mean me having to take more off later, and since I have no idea what I'm doing, I don't want to like do any experiments right now, because then I'd have to make a whole nother wax carving again, and that's not going to be fun. So I'm going to see how that works. I'll get back to you. Alright, so I put that by the windowsill to cool. And while that's doing that, I have 2 pounds of aluminum here, which is going to be the handle material, the final handle material. And I have been I spent a good couple hours yesterday just cutting 2 pounds of aluminum wire into pieces like this. My reasoning being that it will hopefully melt easier being in tiny pieces rather than just hunks of wire. So I'm going to be working on that, and I'm just going to get the rest of this cut down. And hopefully by the time that's done, the wax will be dry and we'll take it from there. So this is almost 2 pounds of aluminum. I probably should not need any more than that. This is all the leftover. I didn't cut it up because A, probably wouldn't fit in this bag, which is torn already, and B, my hands hurt really bad. So I'm just going to use this for now, and if I need more, then I'll just cut up this, which isn't much, but I shouldn't. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap this in saran wrap and put it on top of this that's been drying here. It seems pretty solid. I'm confident that I can keep it upright and not broken. So once that's all taken care of, I'm going to mix up my investment. Here we go. Just wrapping. Oh, that's like the perfect. Oh god. And this also has to be enough so it doesn't leak out of any of these holes when I pour basically glorified concrete into here. I'm gonna put a few layers on. That looks good, right? Yeah, that'll be that's fine. That's fine. And then, boom. So this basically is just going to keep any investment from leaking out of the flask. I'm going to peel the edges up a little bit so I don't get caught. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to take this and just hopefully not destroy it. And success, hopefully. Looks like it. Cool. All right. So that's just sitting in there. It's not touching the edges at all, which is good. We're ready to mix up some investment. So I have 10.5 pounds, or just under 5 kilos of that. I have about 2 liters of water, and that should be enough for this whole thing. Hopefully I don't use the whole thing because it's kind of expensive, at least for me. I'm going to mix it up, pour it in here, let it dry, and then I'm going to melt out the wax. And then hopefully by then it will be ready to pour molten metal into. So I hit the wrong button, or I hit the button that I thought was record, and I actually ended up hitting stop recording. So what I basically did was I poured all 10 pounds of investment into here, and I poured all the water in, and now I'm mixing it, and I have no instructions other than just this stuff will kill you if you eat it. So that's what I'm going off of right now. Hopefully this works, because that was all my investment, and if I mess it up, I got to do it again. I got to order more investment as well, so we'll see how that goes. All right. So you guys saw my wax sculpture. I had actually casted that out of a mold that I had made from a clay sculpture. So basically what my process was I got some Crayola, just craft clay, a hunk of it, and I just, until I got a shape that I liked, and then I just let it dry. I took more water to smooth out any edges, stuff like that. I got it all real nice looking, right? I carved a hole, just the same process. Once it was dry, it's the same process as making any other handle out of wood. Drilled, carved a hole, all that. And then once I was satisfied, I had this silicone mold making fluid. It's basically the same. It works the same way that epoxy does. You mix it together and it dries, stuff like that. So I have the silicone mold that I then cut open, took the clay out, poured wax into. It is nowhere near perfect, but it gave me basically an identical copy of the clay sculpture that I made. So I have that just in case this next step fails. I can still, it won't be the complete end of the world. I can still make another wax mold or another wax sculpture. I just really don't want to. But yeah, if anyone wants to see a video of me making a mold like that, I can do that. Just because I started making this project before I made any videos. But I just figured I'd share my journey on this particular part of the project with everyone. So yeah, that's just basically my process, just to fill everyone in. So this stuff does dissolve in water. That's how you get the mold out once you're done using it. So I poured the excess out on this rock pile. Not sure if I was supposed to do that or not, but I poured the excess out, and it has only been like 15 minutes, and it's already like pretty much dry. It's a little gummy at the surface, but it feels pretty solid, like hot glue. That was pretty quick. I just thought I'd report my observation a little bit. Yeah, see, it's already solid like that. So I'll give it another 10 minutes or so and see how it's doing, and hopefully I'll be able to be ready to remelt out all the wax in there by hopefully still today. Okay, so this thing is like solid, really powdery. It weighs like 15 pounds because the flask is like 4 pounds. And then, yeah, it's just really heavy. I'm going to take it inside, take the saran wrap off, and then I'm going to try and melt the wax out. All right. So, oh, this is so heavy. All right. I'm going to, so this base had basically that screw shape to it at the end, which allows me to take that right out. I'm going to take this off, and beautiful. I have a cute little hole that I can melt my wax out of. I might take a knife and clean it off just a little bit, but it's looking good. This is going a lot better than I had expected it to already. So now I just gotta find the end of the saran wrap to take it off. Oh, you can just call me a master at this point. Look at that. All right, so I cleaned up that hole a little bit. And I'm just gonna put it in the oven for a while and hope that it works. I'm gonna take these out. I'm gonna set them right here for now. Does that fit? Does not. Cool. Taking that out as well. Let's see. Put this in there. That works. This on top of it. Oh geez, that's scary. Never mind. I'm going to not put that in there. Take this sheet and this smaller grate. See how that works. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. So what I've done is I have a cookie sheet on top of a little whatever you put the cookie sheet on to let it cool off. So basically it's just backwards, and I have that on top of there, the hole facing down, so all the wax will drip through the grate onto the pan. I'm gonna put some aluminum foil underneath that so it doesn't ruin the sheet, and we'll melt the wax out. All right, that's my final setup. Barely fits in the oven. I'm gonna put it at probably no more than like 200 or something degrees Fahrenheit. Just because I know that that'll be hot enough to melt the wax, but not hot enough to, I don't know, start any fires. So I'm going to go around maybe 225, and I'll leave it in there for a while. I'll keep checking on it and until all the wax is melted out. I'll be right back. Okay, so update. Slowly but surely, all the wax is coming out. It's been like 2.5 hours, so I'll give it another 2.5 hours, see where we're at then. All right, so what I got going on right now is I'm out of charcoal, so I've lit this little scrap wood fire. I'm gonna just be blowing into it through a pipe. Got the flask right here. The wax is gone, mostly, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I have my aluminum and my crucible right here, and I'm just gonna hope that gets hot enough, and if it does, then I'll start putting that in there.